Hey everybody, it's Stu Fuchs from Ukulele Zen. Thanks so much for clicking on this video. It's Monday, it's time for another episode of Ask Stu. If you have a question that you would like to have answered, please just put it in the comments section below. Love answering your questions. I'm so glad that I can be part of your music journey and be helpful in whatever way I can. So please ask your questions below. I love hearing from you. Today we have a really interesting question from Dr. Ronald S. Epoch. And Dr. Ronald asked, Stu, can you offer some examples of musical contexts in which to place the pariah of the triads, the augmented chord? I like that, the pariah of triads. Now this is a great question and a really fun topic because it can create a very surreal quality in your music. When I was in music school, we used to call this the demented chord because it has a very, horror house, haunted house kind of sound to it. And my teacher even called it the Scooby-Doo chord or the mystery machine. Because as soon as you play an augmented chord, it has a kind of ethereal, otherworldly quality. So today what I'd like to do is just briefly outline what is an augmented chord, how it's made, and give you a couple of examples of how you can use it. Now the augmented chord is a very mysterious sound. It really kind of sounds like this. It has a very ethereal quality. What an augmented chord is, essentially, is taking a major triad and raising the fifth degree of that chord by 1 fret. If we took a good old C major chord, which is made of a root, C, a third, E, and then a fifth, G, that's what this chord is made of, C, E, and G. Well, to make the augmented chord, what we would do is we would take the G and we would raise it 1 fret. So we're altering that chord. This is a very common fingering on the ukulele for an augmented chord. Here's C, here's C augmented. Right away it has a very interesting quality. A really interesting thing that you can do right off the bat to use this is this little progression. C, C augmented, A minor, C augmented. Now this particular progression is used in a lot of different places, and one of the ways that it's used is in John Lennon's Starting Over. So that was a song from his solo album, Double Fantasy. Our life together is so precious, together we have grown, we have grown. All right, so right there is a really interesting sound. You have this melody within the chord. So that's the augmented chord. So that's one way that you can use it. Now, very often the augmented chord is placed on the fifth degree of the key. So if we were in the key of C, our 5 chords, C, D, E, F, G would be our 5 chord. So right there, before we were playing Starting Over, our 1 chord is C, our 5 chord would be G. To make an augmented chord out of the G, we'll add more tension to the chord progression and make the resolution to C even more effective and more powerful. Now the way you create an augmented chord with G is like this. Remember, we're raising the fifth degree of the chord, G, A, B, C, D. Our D note is our fifth. So there it is underneath my pointer finger. There is your G augmented chord. So let's listen to that Starting Over progression, and when I get to the end of the progression, I'm going to place the G augmented chord to create even more tension. That tension, when it's resolved to C, it just feels so nice, and it adds a nice extra color to the chord progression. Our life together is so precious, together we have grown. We have grown, although our life. All right, so that's an interesting place to place it. Notice how you can augment not only the 5 chord that's a triad, but the 5 chord that's a 7th chord. Now Now for this one, you have to reach the pinky out and add it like that. Now, as long as we're using the Fab Four as examples, let's take an example from Me to You. In the bridge, you hear a C augmented chord used. Now this is in the key of F, so that means our 5 chord is going to be a C major or C7 chord. When we get to the bridge, I've got lips that long to kiss you and keep you satisfied. Ooh! All right, so right there, that C augmented adds more tension, and then when we finally go back to the F, feels even more like a resolution because the contrast between the tension and the resolution is even greater. Blue moon, you saw me standing alone. See how I put it in there to make the tension even greater between G and C. Of course, when you're adding this extra tension, sometimes it's best to save it for the end of the phrase. So then the resolve back to 1 is even more powerful. All right, everybody, hope you enjoyed this video. Please keep your questions coming in the comment section below. Give this video a thumbs up if you dug it and share it with your friends. I hope you'll subscribe to this channel, Ukulele Zen. And last but not least, I'm sending a big shout out to my friends in Pittsburgh, Steel City Ukuleles, and also the Allegheny Ukulele Collective. They have a great festival every year called the Allegheny Ukulele Soiree. So look up these groups. They're really wonderful people, and I wish you all the best. So thanks so much for watching. Look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thanks.